Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome back to the Scout Tactical channel. Tonight we're doing another viewer request. By popular request, actually, we're doing the fire kit. It's funny, I did the 72-hour bug out or get home bag a couple of weeks ago, one of the first videos, and it's become my #2 video behind the Daniel Defense V7 rifle, AR-15. I didn't know that the gear would be that popular, but I'm glad it is. It's definitely outdoing most of the gun reviews. And a lot of guys, though, have asked, will you go through each individual module that you took out in the 72-hour bag video? Please go watch it if you haven't seen it. You'll see that I take out the modules, I explain what they are, and I move on to kind of why you would have that stuff or what you could add to it. But I didn't go through necessarily each individual little piece of some of the stuff. And a lot of the viewers evidently wanted to see that. I keep getting a lot of private messages saying, hey man, show me this, show me that. And a lot of people have said the fire kit. So we'll go through the fire kit tonight. I'll add on the water kit, the tools, the survival food concepts, navigation and signaling, communications. We'll just go through all these modules here and there throughout the gun and other gear reviews to make sure that we've covered all the extended and regular 72-hour gear that I showed in the first video and then some. I've already added to that stuff since then, thanks to some of the cool suggestions of the viewers and what have you. I'll do an extended, or an updated rather, 72-hour bag video as soon as I can, because it's always changing, it's always adapting. So we'll jump right into it. This is a fire kit, and you need to understand what this is. This is going to go, you have to have a fire kit in your survival kit, you have to have a fire kit maybe in your hunting gear, you have a fire kit in your 72-hour bag, your get home bag, your bug out bag, your extended stay bag, your backpacking gear, your whatever. So there's different fire kits for different uses. This one happens to have come straight out of my normal camping gear, quote quote camping gear. What you have to have, regardless of what pieces of equipment you choose, is you have to have an ignition source, right? And you have to have a fuel or a tinder, okay? This is the stuff that gives you the spark or the flame and the stuff to catch that spark or flame. You can go old school flint and steel on some char cloth. You can go conventional lighter. You can go with a book of matches, some waterproof matches, what have you. The deal is you have to have some way to cause fire, okay? You can do this in redundant concepts, and that's what you really need to do. What I have done, just as I showed you in the tack gear, in the 72-hour gear rather, and in the knives and in the guns, it's always 2 as 1, right? In the law enforcement world, we work with 2 as 1. You have a flashlight, you have a backup flashlight. You have a pin in your shirt, you have a second pin in your shirt. You have a handcuff key, you have another one on your key ring. So you do this because 2 is 1 and 1 is none. Meaning if you only have one and it breaks, you're screwed. And I believe in this concept wholeheartedly, especially in the woods, because something always goes wrong. You take one rope to go do the one task you're going to try to do when you're fixing a tree stand, it breaks. You lose it, it falls off the four-wheeler. You know where I'm going with this. So the same thing. What we have is 2 ignition sources, okay? 2 tinders. Alright, if that makes sense. And that's just for redundancy. I also have a candle in mine, which works great because you're not boiling water with the candle. You're not doing anything like that. You're not even really signaling with the candle. But the candle will light if you can cover it while it's raining to give you some light to work. It will drip wax to give you a little fuel for your tinder or your kindling, whatever you're using. So the candle comes in pretty handy. This is a cheap one. This is a 3 for $3 Coughlin's emergency survival candles, okay? They came in a 3-pack. So I put one in there, and I put one in its own Ziploc bag, which can be used for other things. Now you have an extra Ziploc. But I do that because the candles tend to melt. I live in Texas, as I've mentioned in the other videos, and it's hot. So during the summer, if that thing gets soft and gooey, I don't want to get soft and gooey and ruining my stuff. Alright. First off, simple and basic is a lighter. This is a Bic, a non-adjustable because they don't make them anymore, but you can still find some on the internet, by the way. But it doesn't matter. It's just a regular old full-size Bic lighter. You flick the Bic, the flame comes out, it lights whatever. This is the simplest way to do it. I'm going to be honest, guys. I sit down at deer camp or in a campsite making a fire. I'm not going to look for my freaking flint and steel and start chipping away or make a bow drill. I'm going to reach over, grab this out of the bag, flick the lighter, it starts the fire, and I'm done, because that's what you're there for. You're not there to learn how to start a fire in most cases. If you are, then use your other methods. But in most cases, you just want to light the fire so you can get to your cooking, you can get to your signaling, you can get to your washing dishes or whatever you're trying to do. Any task, survival or non-emergency, you just want to do it the simplest way possible. It uses the least amount of energy. So, one thing you might add to the kit, a second one. That's right, because 2 is 1, right? Principle of redundancy. If you lose or break one lighter, especially that black one, which I happen to like, but it's easy to lose in the dark, then you have another lighter to back you up. What do you do if you can't do it? And what if you have to split the kit? Okay? Southern Pepper One's talked about that concept before, and you know, it really didn't dawn on me much until I saw some of his stuff a couple years ago. What if you had to give this one to your wife and her part of the kit with a few of these tenders and whatever and split up? Hey, good point. Same with the rain gear, same with the shelter, same with all the gear. If you have redundant stuff, you can also split it if you have to do a break-off mission, or if somebody in your group can carry some of the load, or all kinds of reasons. Okay, also, the second source that I carry in here are these REI matches, okay? These are pretty cool. These are what they call lifeboat matches, okay, because it has all the stuff up there. When you light it, it's kind of like a regular match that keeps on going crazy for a little while. And then at the end, it burns on just the regular wooden stick. They are waterproof. I leave them in the plastic bag that they come in from REI. They're not super cheap. I think they're, I don't know. Don't get me wrong, I want to say $2.99, and maybe that's $2.99 for a 2-pack, or was it $5.99 for a 2-pack? I don't remember. I remember they come in a 2-pack, and they do have the striker on both sides of the box, which you can cut off if you want to, if you're trying to make this a little more compact. Fit it in some kind of waterproof matchbox or whatever. All right. So, ignition sources. What's another one you might try? Even cheaper, Coughlin's waterproof matches. Okay. Waterproof matches, like I said, are really good, but as you see, now we're talking a match with just a coating over the tip, right? It's not the huge ignition source like it is on the REIs, but these are a lot cheaper. I got this whole 10-pack for, I think, $5. So 50 cents a pack versus, I think, $3 a pack on there. Okay, what's another option? I use these in all of my survival kits. If you saw the in the 72-hour videos, the basic survival videos, if you saw, I did a breakout on the whole survival kit. And in all my survival kits, I have some kind of ferro rod. Okay, this one happens to be a Kershaw, but there's Light My Fire and all kinds of different brands if you want to try them. Some are good, some are bad. Or really, you know, scratch that. I think they're all good, but some are thicker, some are thinner, so they last long or break, or, you know, last longer or break or whatever. This one's a good one, and I like these because they're about $9.99 in most stores. Whereas some of them today, like the blast match and stuff, are getting up to $25, $28 bucks. That's crazy. So these are a good alternative. You just strike the deal on the ferro rod, strike the magnesium the striker on the rod, or the back of your pocket knife, just so you know, the back of your pocket knife, not the blade. And it showers off a bunch of sparks, which can fall onto your ignition source, your tinder, and it starts your fire. So a great backup, because we know that this works in any altitude, and it works when it's wet. You just dry off the rod and it works. What happens to a Bic lighter if it gets super wet, right? The flint doesn't strike. It's real simple. Also, the clicky lighters, the electric click lighters, you push it down once and it flame flies out, the butane lighters. I want to tell you, you know, when I was in Philmont as a teenager in New Mexico, a high adventure scout base, I learned something pretty valuable. I live at about 300 or so feet above sea level, North Texas area. Most of North Texas is, you know, 250 to 350 feet above sea level. So we really don't have to deal with a lot of altitude changes. I didn't realize when I got up on top of those mountains, and I think the one we were on top of that night was Mount Phillips is what it was called, because it also started hailing on us in midsummer. But the click lighters don't always work. You get up super tall, what the Philmont guy was telling us is a lot of those clicky lighters, they rely off static electricity, and you get up where the air is thin, and there's less, you can't generate the static electricity. I don't know if that's the real scientific reason, but I can tell you that everyone up there that had those lighters failed. We had to go back to matches. Thank God we had them. Okay, so remember, make sure your equipment works not only where you are, but where you might be going. I think that goes with anything. Go on to some Tinder sources. This is wet fire. I've got 4 of these in the little kit. In my survival kit, I just carry 2. Okay. And what this is, it looks like a piece of candy or something when you open it. I'm not going to because they're kind of high. But this is a piece of tinder. Tinder is the stuff you put first, and then you put wood or whatever on top of your kindling, and then your bigger stuff. So that's the beginning. This is what your flame or sparks are going to hit. And what wet fire does, it's real cool, is it literally, on their commercials, on their package, it burns in water. You can lay it, it floats on top of the water burning. Pretty neat. So I got this stuff. It's not the cheapest ignition source in the world. I got a thing on eBay is where I bought those, and it was two packages of 25, so 50 of them for about $25. And that's cool. Buying in bulk, they're a little cheaper at 50 cents a piece that way versus normally they can hit about $1 a piece. So thank goodness. But anyway, 50 cents a piece, they're not something you want to play around with all the time. Although you do want to make sure they work for you on whatever your ignition source is, your flame source. What's another type of tinder? Dryer lint. Yep, got it right out of the dryer trash can, utility room trash can, but dryer lint. Guys, I've used dryer lint since I was in Scouts. I was an Eagle. I got my Eagle in '88, and I'm telling you, I've started before wet fire, before all this fancy schmancy, dryer lint all day. But guess what it doesn't work good in? It doesn't work if it's wet, and wet fire does. That's why I've kind of replaced most of my stuff with wet fire. But there's no problem with taking a plastic bag, because you're going to need to keep it dry, filling it full of dryer lint, which comes in your dryer absolutely free, and taking it with you as a third or a second. You know, that's your backup source of tinder or what have you. So dryer lint, don't discount it. It works all the time. It's no problem. And some guys get real bent out of shape saying, oh, you have to have dryer lint that's only out of cotton, or you have to have dryer lint that's only from whatever. Man, you don't know what's in that washing machine, especially if your wife's doing the laundry. I say forget it. I see all dryer lint lights, probably some better than others, but it's whatever. If it's dryer lint, it's dryer lint, and go for it. I guess if you have a synthetic only, or a wardrobe, or a whole bunch of synthetics like workout clothes and stuff, and that's all you wash all the time, okay, you're not really getting any lint in your filter, I understand. But if you're a normal person with some type of cotton, or some type of whatever, fleece, flannel, whatever have you, it's going to put off lint, and that lint will light. So don't let people tell you that it won't. I guarantee you it will. In the fire kit, last but not least, this is some pretty cool stuff. As you see, it's in a weird little flat OD package. What does this tell you? Military surplus. Correcto. That is trioxane. And trioxane is what used to be used for fire starting and MRE heating before they came out with the flameless water heaters on the MRE. And I'm talking the military here. So if you're in the military, you used to use trioxane for your MREs. And there's been all kinds of uses, but it's in those packages because that is milsurp. That's how I bought it. Basically, this is one bar. If you can tell that in the video, this is one little bar in here of trioxane. It's a flat compressed fuel bar. It's kind of bluish. When you take it out, remember, you don't have to use the whole thing. You can break off just a little piece. It's one solid piece. You just break it off, okay? Just use that little piece. Fold up the rest, put it up. It's not that that stuff's super expensive. I bought a box of 50 of those on eBay for $30. So we're talking less than $1 a piece. But they're not super ridiculously easy to find anymore, and eventually I think that they'll go away. Is really why I bought the 50 box. I keep 2 or 3 in every fire kit, but they are a good source, and I thought, man, if the military's not using these anymore, if they go away or become expensive, I'm just going to put some back. So I paid $30. Big deal, right? And no problem. That's the price of a box of 45 ammo, and I put up 50 bars of the stuff. Use it in my survival kits. Remember, break off pieces. Okay, this stuff lasts a long time. Some guys say after a while it becomes dusty powder. It does. They're correct. But I don't know when that is, because I've still got some from when I was in high school, when I was in Scouts. It still feels like it's in bar form. So I don't know. Again, don't get wrapped around the axle on that. just feel it. If it's good stuff, it's good stuff. It all lights, regardless of what form. And remember this, another tip. I've already seen this on YouTube, and I've seen it 1,000 times in person. If you're in the sunlight during the day and you put out a piece of that and light it, you can't necessarily, when it first lights, see the flame, okay? It just burns in a clear color. And it's fairly odorless for at least the first few seconds. So don't reach down there and grab it and go, did that light? You can literally light this stuff, Trioxane, with a magnesium bar or a ferro rod or whatever. It just takes sparks. It does not have to have the open flame of a lighter or matches. So if you shower down some sparks on that thing, chink, don't go, oh, it didn't work, because then you're holding a lit fuel bar, and it will ruin your freaking weekend. Because I've never done it, but I've seen guys in scouts and in the adult world in deer camp and stuff grab that thing. It's literally liquid fuel, because compressed fuel, not liquid fuel. It's compressed fuel, so it's going to be super hot and it's going to hurt you. Now, because it's super hot, it burns well. A little bitty piece burn for 15-20 minutes in a lot of cases. It's plenty to start your fire when it's wet. It's not going to be the end-all be-all fire starter, but it does burn so hot and so long that it's good in wet conditions. And when you need a fire the most, Murphy's Law, it's always raining. Same with the wet fire. These little jewels burn for quite a while, okay? At 50 cents to a little over, probably 65 cents, they're in the same ballpark. They do the same stuff. This is way lighter and way smaller, okay? But these are pretty cool too, because they're mill serp, so you can get a bunch of them, and sometimes a little cheaper depending on your deal. Okay, I hope this helps. This is the breakout of the fire kit. I've got a bunch of messages, like I mentioned, about guys wanting to know exactly what's in it. And again, I think just like with the guns, with the knives, with the bags, with the everything I've shown you so far, I don't want you to get wrapped around one thing that, oh, Scout Tactical guy says you got to have this and that. No, man, what I'm saying is you have to have ignition sources and tinder in a fire kit, because that helps you start the fire. You got to give it a spark or a flame. You got to have something to catch that spark or a flame. You can make char cloth if you know how to do that. You can use flint and steel. You can use pine cones. You can use wax covered pine cones. You can use Vaseline on cotton balls, which a lot of guys like. I don't. I think it's messy. I don't use those. But it's cheap and it's effective. You can use dryer lint. So remember what you're doing. You're trying to cause a flame in redundant fashion, matches, lighter, what have you. And you're trying to catch that flame, some type of fuel sources, some type of tinder. All right, as always, the subscriptions are coming. I appreciate you watching. We're nearly at the 2,000 view mark after just the first 4 weeks. Tonight's the beginning of week 4. So I really appreciate that. I'm asking for subscriptions. We're trying to get to the first 100 subscribers, and it's going good. If you want to see something different, comment in the video. I read every single one. Or message me through YouTube, or go to the Facebook page, Scout Tactical. Message me there. You'll see all the links, scouttactical.com. As always, thanks for watching.